Hello, this is a tutorial video on how to use the Shakespeare Engineering Hap Toolkit software. This program serves to speed up Hap workflow and provide quick access information about load calculation results. This video assumes the user already has knowledge on how to use and perform load calculations in the hourly analysis program. A quick overview on how and why to use the tool will now be performed. This overview will be followed by how to get the program and sections for each tool that will break them down in more detail. As of this recording, the program contains 3 tools: a tool to split a combined PDF export from Hap into sub-PDFs based on sections, a tool to generate an Excel file containing the most prevalent information from the Hap exports while automating certain processes, and a tool that places visual information from Hap onto a PDF. Each tool also has a question mark button that contains instructions on how to use the tool more in depth. The split tool is the simplest tool. Shakespeare Engineering likes to get 4 PDFs exported from Hap of different load calc summaries. Without this tool, each summary would have to be generated one at a time to get them into their own PDF. Selecting the 4 summaries at the same time within Hap and attempting to export them would result in one combined PDF rather than 4 individuals. For example, this is what it looks like to export from Hap. We want these 4 summaries to be exported from Hap. However, if you print them while having them all selected, it will only put them into one PDF. And this is what the one PDF would look like. Before this tool, in order to split them how we'd like, we would have to select one summary at a time, click the preview or print button, wait for it to generate, let it load, then save this PDF where you'd want it, and then you'd have to do that again for every single summary. So I'd have to run this summary and then print it somewhere, this summary, print it somewhere, and this summary, print it somewhere. And we would generally put those 4 summaries into a Hap exports folder. The split tool solves the problem of tediously selecting and exporting each summary individually by allowing the user to split the combined PDF from Hap, then saving the 4 PDFs for the user. The tool also properly names all the files for the user, which Hap did not do automatically. To use the tool, simply drag and drop the combined PDF onto the split page, then click Run. So here is what the PDF looked like before. It has all of the summaries on one PDF. So if we just drag and drop this onto the page and then click Run, it will split this combined PDF into the 4 individual PDFs that we want, and it names them very nicely. A fast way to also use this tool is to drag the PDF to be split directly onto the program's icon, which will automatically perform the split based on defaults. Generate Checksums tool is next. This takes information from the export PDFs, export Excel sheets, and directly from the .hap file and creates an Excel file called Checksums that provides automatic unit sizing, detailed tables, summaries, and supply error nerf automation. Here's a quick look on what the Checksum Excel looks like. It will get generated inside of the Hap exports folder that the splitter will create. It's an Excel file. Upon opening the Excel file, it will take you to a summary page. This includes the name of the project, its location, all of the locational and weather data. And some of the things that it automates for you is it will tell you what climate zone it's in, and it will calculate your cooling and heating D rates. It also gives you a summary on the sizing for all of the heating and cooling units, as well as giving you a summary of the automated supply air CFM nerfing. And these red highlights are telling you that due to some of the rounding that we do, that these ones need to be modified manually so that the nerfed CFM matches what the unit should provide. It also tells you envelope R values and U values and information about that. And it tells you all of the space type information. Each sheet then goes into detail on what gave you those loads. And in each sheet, you can perform and modify the automated CFM nerfing. So this one is 5 short, so you can add 5 here, and it will now be updated to not be red over here. And that is a quick overview. This tool requires the splitting of the PDFs that the previous tool does, but by default will automatically do the splitting during the Hap export process. It also requires the user to select these two Excel files to be created upon printing the exports. These Hap Excel files get created in the same directory as the .hap file, and those Excel files get automatically used by this tool as long as they're not moved outside of the directory. These are what those Excel files from Hap look like, and they get created right next to the .hap file. So this is what the directory might look like right after exporting the combined PDF from Hap. So to use this tool, simply drag and drop the .hap file onto the tools page and then click run. So it will automatically take the combined PDF and those Excel files and information from Hap. It will split that PDF and create that checksums file that has all that useful information. The .hap file can be directly dropped onto the program's icon, which will generate the checksums using defaults. The Hap To Bluebeam tool takes information from the .hap file and optionally the checksums file and displays that information directly on a building's drawing PDF. This largely eliminates the need to perform tedious duplicate work within the .hap file and in the area takeoff drawing. It will generate the graphics that the ATO needs all from the Hap file. So to use the tool, simply drag and drop the .hap file onto the page, then click Load File Info. This will fill out the rest of the options page with useful information that will help the user use the tool. By default, using this tool will automatically create its own checksums file and split the PDF for the user. If these tasks were previously performed, there are options to select to ensure this tool does not try to do that again for the user when they've already done that. This tool will automatically detect and use the ATO drawing file if it is in the same directory as the .hap file, which should normally be the case. But it also gives the option to have the user directly select the ATO or drawing that the markups will be placed on. Next, the user needs to select which page number on the drawing that they want to place the markup information on. You can see since loading the Hap file, it tells you that there are 8 pages in our drawing. For this specific one, we'll choose 2 because that's where the first floor starts. If the building has multiple levels, the program will automatically place markups on consecutive pages. Exceptions to this behavior are in the instructions. If the way the Hap file and building is set up does not allow for the program to consecutively place the different levels, the user can also choose to place and put information onto the drawing one page/level at a time. Once the user has the .hap file in and a page number selected, they can press the Place Calibration Markers button. This will create a copy of the ATO drawing file with calibration arrows. Opening that file and clicking on the arrows will give information on where to place the tips of the arrows for calibration. I will demonstrate that here. We can see that a copy of our drawing has been created with the suffix calib at the end for calibration. Opening the calibration file, you can see that no arrows were placed on page 1, and that is because we placed them on page 2. We'll go to page 2, and now we can see that there are these magenta calibration arrows. If you click on one and open its properties, you can see that it has information on where to put the head of the arrow on this drawing. So this one is telling us that this arrow needs to go on the bottom left of the building, and it would go on the corner of the 143 stairs space. So we'll move that arrow there and place it. And the other arrow is up here. It's telling us this is the arrowhead that needs to be put onto the corner of this stairs. So we'll move the arrowhead there. And now all you need to do is save the file and close it. So after that, the user can click on the Place Markups button, and the markups will be placed in the drawing PDF file. Here we can see I created a new file called markups, and if we open that up and go to the second page, we can see that all the zoning and information from the checksums and the .hap file has been placed. This significantly saves time since the user does not have to do zoning in both Hap and the drawing file. You can also see that as long as the building drawing images are one on top of another and have the same scale, that consecutive pages will also be placed. However, sometimes the drawing images are not placed one on top of another, and that's okay as long as the scale is the same, since the user can just drag and rearrange the markups to be where they need them. That is a very basic overview on how to use the Hap To Bluebeam tool. More detailed and in-depth information is in the question mark informational page. To get the program, it will be shipped in a folder called Hap Toolkit. It may be zipped, so all the user needs to do is either unzip it on their computer or simply copy that folder onto their computer if it is unzipped. The user does not need to install or download any other programs or software to use the Hap Toolkit program. For the Shakespeare Engineering Company, the program is in the Tool Spreadsheets folder, and then in the Tools folder. Simply copy the Hap Toolkit folder anywhere on your computer, and it will be immediately available to use. You can also drag, copy, and paste this haptoolkit.zip onto your computer and extract it onto your computer if that's easier with Dropbox syncing. So what this would look like is simply Control C and Control V it onto your computer. In terms of speed, it may be faster just to copy and paste the zip folder onto your computer and extract it on your own computer. When you get the folder onto your computer, make sure that the haptoolkit.exe file stays in the same directory as this underscore internal folder. If it is not in the same directory, it will not run properly. If you want a Hap Toolkit shortcut on your computer that doesn't have to be near the underscore internal folder, simply right click it, go to Show More Options, then click Send To, and click Send to Desktop, and it will create a nice shortcut for you to use that you can drag and drop and have all the same functionality as before. And that's how you get this toolkit onto your computer. A few more details that I'd like to bring up before we end this video are the debug and settings buttons. I know I didn't cover absolutely everything the tools have to offer, but if you ever have questions, just read the documentation or feel free to contact me or leave a comment under this video and I'll try to answer any questions to the best of my abilities. So for the debug page, what you can do here is it will give you a bunch of diagnostic information, such as I can give it the .hap folder and I can click inspect and it will give you a general idea of what this building looks like inside of Hap and how many spaces it has on each level. You can also click show diagnostics and it will give you some diagnostics of where things are and if everything is working properly. Lastly, if one wants to know exactly how the .hap file works, you can click decompress here, and it will print the JSON files that make up the internals of how the .hap software works. So this folder was just created because I clicked decompress, and this gives you all of the information that Hap stores if you're curious how the program works. You can go in here and inspect any of these .json files, and this shows everything that the Hap file has. Next is the settings button. There are currently two settings in here that can be adjusted to your liking. First is the drag and drop actions settings menu. This determines what drag and dropping files onto the icon does. So for example, for the Hap splitter, you can choose different presets for what happens when you drag that combined PDF onto the icon. So if I wanted to not have the PDF be deleted, I can select keep original PDF, and now if I were to drag a combined PDF onto the icon and have it automatically run, it will run with this preset. Next is adding more unit sizes to the checksums. Currently, the way unit sizing works is if the unit is right below the next size unit, it rounds up to the next size unit we use. You can add more unit sizes if we get more unit sizes in the future by simply typing in a new number and clicking add. And this will add that to the checksum spreadsheet and allow for new unit sizes to be added in the future. Another nice feature is if you have new unit sizes that aren't default and we have a new user of Hap come in, you can save the unit sizes in here and open the settings folder, which will open this folder. And you can send this unit sizes.json folder to the new user of Hap, and then they'll be able to load in all of the new unit sizes that we've used. And that's pretty much everything you need to know in the most basic sense for this toolkit. If you have any questions, feel free to go through the detailed documentation that's in the program and rewatch this video. And thanks for watching.